What's up, guys? Starting another video here today. Got to go to the Chicago Auto Show last week. First, quick little order update. Unfortunately, I did not get an invitation to convert my order in Wave 4, which was a few days ago. Starting to accept the possibility of being a 2023 model year, but now, 5 takeaways from the Chicago Auto Show. I went last week. I went on a Tuesday, I think, and I was there right when they opened. So, first takeaway, the Ford Lightning was so impressive in person. It was so cool to see it in person. You know, it really brought this kind of vaporware, mystical thing that we kept talking about but never really seeing. Like, it was there. It was in person. It was real. I could touch it. It was very impressive. It was a Lariat trim, so props to Ford for not just parading around the Platinum trim that nobody can afford. So it was a Lariat trim in ice blue silver. It was very cool, but I guess my only complaint, and I circle back to this later, first takeaway, it was very impressive, but I don't know if the average person walking by would know, like, that's the electric F-150. There wasn't much big signage. It was just sitting there, and it looks like pretty much every other Ford F-150 if you don't know what to look for. Like we do. And so it was very cool to see in person. The sales rep, he was really nice. He talked to me a lot. He invited me inside the magic banister to get up close and personal. He let me open and close the doors. He let me put down the tailgate. He said, the only thing is I can't let you sit in it, but he let me put my camera in there. I got a better feel for how big that 12-inch instrument cluster is. It did have the 15-inch portrait infotainment screen, which we won't have in the Pro trim level. That's the trim I want. But still a very impressive thing to see. And so just very cool. And shout out to the sales rep that let me get in there. The one thing I did want to see in person was underneath the Lightning, the ground clearance. It advertises 8.9 inches of ground clearance, but the pictures make it look like that battery skid plate is really close to the ground. So I got footage. I made sure to get down on my hands and knees to get this footage, and it actually doesn't look very low. I mean, 8.9 inches sounds pretty good, and then you look at the video, and I actually was impressed. It's not as saggy as I thought from the pictures on their website. Okay, second takeaway from the Chicago Auto Show. The Silverado EV was arguably more impressive to the naked eye. Only because, and I've shared this as a comment on a couple of my other videos, it just had a bigger presence, not physically, not like it was longer or taller, but the presentation was more fully baked. I think the futuristic styling of the Silverado made it more of an eye grabber. When you're in a big auditorium full of 300 cars, there were definitely more people drawn to the Silverado, at least when I was there. I mean, it was a more impressive experience. They had a big screen behind it. You know, they had lights. They had an augmented reality experience for it. It just was a little more, again, this is my first auto show I've ever been to. So for someone who's never been to an auto show, they had a more complete experience. And it was in that dark blue that they've been advertising. I just think it popped more, and it was a more impressive experience. It left a bigger impression on me personally, as someone who was going there to look at EVs and trucks. I think Ford could be doing more with their Lightning presentation. Okay, third takeaway from the Chicago Auto Show. There were more EVs overall than I was anticipating. I wrote them all down here, and I might have even missed some, but these were all the ones I saw in person. The Ford Lightning, the Chevy Silverado EV, the Hummer EV, the Ioniq 5, the Hyundai Kona, the Kia Niro, the Nissan Ariya, the Kia EV6, the Mustang Mach-E, the Toyota Rhombus Concept, the Toyota BRZ6, whatever, I forget what it's called. That was another concept that they had. And the Kia EV9 concept. So that's, I think, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, whatever. The concepts don't really count, but I was impressed with the number of EVs they had in person as someone who went. I mean, there's so many cars. Originally, I was going to try to get footage of every car, and there's like 300. So I narrowed it down to just the EVs, and I still had plenty of material to cover, plenty of cars to see. But this brings me to my fourth takeaway from the Chicago Auto Show, and that would be the Hummer was consistently abandoned. Like, there was never people standing around oohing and awing at it. It was, the only thing I can think is that when you walked through the ticketing gates, one of the first trucks you saw was the Ford F-150 Lightning, and then maybe 100 yards further down that path was the Chevy Silverado, and then like 200 or 300 yards to your right, way far away from the entrance, was the Hummer. So my only thing is maybe it was too far off the beaten path, but like, anybody who cares at all about EVs or trucks or EV trucks knows about the Hummer EV. And so I was very surprised. I circled back, so I went straight to it when I first walked in. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of foot traffic yet. Then I went back an hour later, still like maybe one guy kind of taking pictures. I went back an hour later, still nobody really around who cared to see it. And I don't know if part of that was because, I mean, they didn't have a sales rep there to answer questions or do a presentation like some other vehicles did, but I'm like, this is arguably one of the coolest vehicles in the room, and nobody cares, for lack of a better term. I thought it was cool in person, but I have to wonder if maybe the Hummer is priced so aggressively high that people have just stopped considering it or aren't interested in learning more about it because it's so expensive. So that was my biggest like head scratcher of the day. Why was nobody intrigued by the Hummer EV, which had all these cool features, you know, the crab walk and the removable top? Didn't seem to be an eye grabber for many people. I guess, so my real fifth takeaway is going to be they were giving like pre-invited test drives in a Ford Lightning XLT trim. And I asked the lady in person, you know, can I sign up online to get an invite right now? And she said, no, you would have gotten your invitation before coming to the show. I would assume it's for people that have already converted their reservations to orders. Like, that's who they're prioritizing. That way they can get some test drives out of the way now for those people that are eager and already, you know, are financing their truck but haven't gotten a chance to get in one. So I'm going to try to put in some legwork between now and the Columbus Auto Show, which is in March, to see if I can get an invite. I don't know how that works. Maybe if I go out of my way to ask somebody at Ford over these next couple weeks, they can send me the QR code, or maybe not. I don't know. It's worth a try. So those are my 5 takeaways from the Chicago Auto Show. Please feel free to go back and look at all the videos I've done over the last 10 days. I did a couple YouTube shorts that got some reactions, and I did a quick just summary video of all the EVs I saw while I was there. So thanks for tuning in, and keep an eye out for the next video. Thanks.